Hey guys. Okay, so we're gonna do it this way because I was supposed, oh goodness. I was supposed to go live with Malibu today, but something must have came up with him. We actually had to reschedule it because I went to, I had an appointment with the leasing office because they did get my negotiable instrument at corporate office. I didn't send it to the local office because we don't do that, right? They don't know these kind of things. So we send it further up the chain, you know, to the high people. Never want to send it locally because remember, a lot of people don't understand this private side. So because I had already said that I was going to update you on what's going on with all of that and that kind of stuff, I went ahead and I'm live now. So thank you for joining me. So when you're moving in this capacity, there's going to be a lot of people that they think that you're crazy. They think that you are unpatriotic. They think that, like, whatever they think that they're going to do, right? Like at this point, we don't care, right? Because we know that there's another side. We know that there's a transfer of wealth. We know that Nasara Jasara is happening. And at this point, it's like we have to, and I'll speak for myself, I had to understand that the path that I was headed down is going to be very lonely because a lot of people don't understand this. But when you come from source, when you come from like a higher connection with God, it really doesn't matter, because in my brain, I think at some point I'm going to have to interface with God, right? I'm going to have to interface with my creator. And I just don't want to get up there and, you know, be like, well, you know, I was in this church and, you know, they didn't teach that. Or, well, no, you know, my family didn't believe this, so I just didn't either. I mean, I always knew it was a thing, but I was just kind of scared to get, you know, ruffle the waters or anything like that. Like, I'm aware of that, right? Like, I'm aware that I'm going to have to interface with my creator at some point, right? So it is kind of scary on one hand, but if you do stay into the guidelines of the truth, honestly, the truth, when you start to study, or if you are already down this rabbit hole and you've studied for a while, I applaud you. It's exciting because it's truth, and none of that can ever be taken from you. None of that can ever be, like, somebody can't gaslight you and tell you that it's not true, because you've already done the research and you've already done, like, you've met other people that are on the same frequency as you. You've already met people that have shown proof, or that that are on the private side, that they've had their bills paid, or they created a negotiable instrument and they paid off their mortgage, or they paid off their car note. For me, with my car note right now, my car is paid off, but at the beginning of this journey, I started with that. And if you follow me on TikTok, that's like the first video on my page. But as I was coming across content creators and stuff like that, they were always saying, look at your contracts, look at it. Because, you know, like, I speak for myself. When I would get something like a house, or like my car, or anything like big of that nature, you know, I'm just so excited. I don't want to read the 87-page document. You know, I'm just flipping to the back and then I sign it, right? Well, now that I have a new understanding, or now that I have new eyes, I know what I'm looking at now. I understand the deception. I understand where the spell of illusions came from, because it's all in the spelling. Words are spells, you know, and however they create that, or however they, you know, frame that particular document, if we're not educated on it, then we don't know. You know, like, I didn't understand that on a car contract, if you look in the right hand side of it, there is a place for insurance, and on that side is where insurance is supposed to be in the sum of all charges, you know. And then once you start to realize that you're the creditor, like, I think that's what really set me over the edge when I was studying Cornell University law. I started to look into like, who is the creditor? Who am I, right? Because if you guys have followed me for a while, I have shared my journey and what I'm doing, how I'm growing, how I'm not, how some of the blocks are still affecting me, things that I've overcame, things that I've, been able to get out of the forest so that I can see the trees. So at this point, if you have been on my journey, I do appreciate you, being able to expand yourself, being able to expand your brain, your thought process, and all that kind of stuff. Hey, Daniel. But I did want to go over like what I have in my folder. Now, this is the folder that I took with me the other day to the Okaloosa County Courthouse. I went there because, well, I need to update my passport, but I also wanted to talk to a judge. I wanted to be able to sit with him and converse like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Is it right? Is there anything else that I need to do? And I wasn't able to talk to a judge, but I was able to talk to his attorney, like, which kind of made me go, wait, why did they have an attorney? Whatever. So I didn't question it, but I was able to talk to her. I did walk through my process with the negotiable instrument for the car. Now she said she didn't know what that was. In this era, I'm starting to learn how to decipher if they're leading me on, if they are gaslighting me, if they are, I'm just trying to figure out that kind of thing, because here's the reason why. She does know about the private side and she does understand like contract law and stuff like that. But I showed her my book. Now my book, all of it opened. This is my DOT number. I showed her my DOT number. I showed her, I'll go through it real quick. It's an affidavit of identity. And then I have my fee schedule, and that is all the things. She knows about this kind of stuff. Hold on, I'm trying to think of, this page is my fee schedule. So when I created my book, if I have to give it to somebody quick, like let's say it's a cop that pulls me over because now I have private tags and he doesn't know what he's looking at, right? I want him to be able to flip through. There's the front page. Here's the back page to the front page, right? That way they're not having to take things out. They're not having to mess up my stuff. One page is on one side and the very second page is on the other. I do have my UCC1 listed in this book just in case as proof. And then the private auto insurance surety bond is for $5 million. Now this is going to cover me. I do want to go, hey Dallas, I thought we weren't going live, and then I realized you just said Saturday and it's Friday. Lee doesn't look. I'm not on the calendar anymore. I'm not, because I thought it was today. But anyway, so I have my private auto insurance surety bond for $5 million set, and what I'm wanting to do now is to get checks, like negotiable instruments, the bills of exchange, so that if I run into you, I can just endorse it and send it and give it to you and be like, here's what you do with it. I also want to print out instructions, because think about it. If I run into you and you don't know anything about this and I hand you a check, at the top of it, it's going to say that you can't deposit it as a check. You have to deposit it as a negotiable instrument, right? So yes, Dallas, I'm sorry, I'm ridiculous. I'm telling you, my head is always in the ethers, and at this point, like I rarely know what time it is, what day it is. I have to literally look because my days get all smeared together. So when I have my surety bond, if I run into you, then I also have checks and an instruction letter for the public person that doesn't know what I'm talking about, right? So I haven't made that up yet, but it'll read something like, I think I need to like start it, and then as I think of things, write it down and then type it up. But I want to be able to say, hey, this is what this is. I want all of my information on it, because I have clean hands. So if you have to reach me, this is how you reach me. Here's where I live. you know, like that kind of thing. Because I don't want the other person to walk away thinking, damn, I just got scammed, or damn, what the hell, you know, because it is stressful when you're in a car accident. So, you know, I just want to alleviate them, because this is how I'm going to tender that. I would add, from what I'm gathering, a 1099A and then also a C. So the A is going to give them the money, and the C is going to cancel it out. I also added my birth certificate on here just to also prove who I am, because now I actually drive, I travel, sorry, it's not driving. I actually travel with my passport. Now I do have my driver's license, but at some point, once I update my passport, I'll surrender my driver's license back. My driver's license doesn't expire until 2026, so I have some time. I am working on my passport at this point to be able to update it, because once I divorced Satan, I went back to my maiden name, and I want that on my passport. So I do have my birth certificate in here, and then I also have the cancellation request for my insurance, because I want to be able to tell them, look, I don't have insurance. Like, here's my receipt. It's been canceled. Here's how we're going to tender this. Here's your documents, and here's how to get a hold of me. You know, also, if a police officer, you know, pulls me over, whatever, I've not had any problems. Now, also, don't think that I haven't looked in the rear view mirror several times to see if that blazer, that white blazer with the grill on the front is about to pull me over, you know, because I don't know. But luckily enough, I live in Destin, Florida, and it's kind of a touristy town. So you will see everybody from Canada, from Montana, like all the states are down here at this beautiful beach. It is a gorgeous beach. And then also just for me to keep everything organized, I do need to get a secondary folder for myself, but I do have the foreign grantors trust number in here. This is the one that they talk about that has, like, you have like an offshore, you know, a Taiwan address. So that's your foreign trust grantors number. It should be a 98 number. So what I've gathered from, is it Chris Hauser? No, wait, it's Patrick Devine. Patrick says that, and I think I have a video on my YouTube about it too, but Patrick says that you need 3 numbers, because remember, you're considered dead at sea. So when you're dead at sea, you're out in the waters with Jack and Rose, right? You have to get yourself back on land. And in order to do that, it's going to be your estate number, your foreign trust grantor's number, and then the private banker's EIN. I do have that also here just for my records, because I would like to, I need to get like a second, more private folder, because this one, it was staying in my car for a while, but then I kind of had like a, you know what, that's really an important, you know, just in case my car gets broken into or something like that, you know, God forbid. But they don't need all of this information. You know, they don't need my foreign grantor, my birth certificate, all the things. So that's why I do need to make a secondary folder, a secondary binder. I do have my affidavit right to travel and public records notice. This notice was also sent to the Secretary of State. And then I have another one, which is the affidavit right to travel and public notice record. Affidavit right to travel and public records notice. So this one I will send to the sheriff, and then also the Secretary of State, which is Cord Bird, CORDBYRD. That's in Tallahassee, Florida. So I haven't had any troubles. I really haven't. But I mean, do I speed? Yeah, I have. But I don't really get tickets like that. I really don't. And my car's a red Mustang. And I know that whenever I bought it, people were like, oh my gosh, like, you're going to get in trouble. People are going to see it all, you know, whatever. You just duck and weave. You just stay out of the line of sight. Turn off if you have to, you know, like, oh shit. I mean, it's that easy, y'all. Now, okay, so switch gears with me. So I started my journey way back in like March, okay? And the first couple things that I did was my Ford credit, my car. And it took me a while, and only because I think it's because I started to put stuff on the back burner, and you know, I'll come back to it because my car's already paid off, all the things. I was just merely looking at the contract to see what was so fraudulent, you know. And it's crazy because at one time in the contract, they talk about me being the creditor, right? They put me in that position when they need me to be, but then they talk about me being the debtor too in the same contract. So that's why I say words are spells. They're going to switch them up. They're going to put you in different places. When I started to go over my contract, I took a yellow Sharpie and I was just marking out things. You know, I marked on it too what UCC or the CFR codes, USC, whatever code it was. Now, some people say don't use the codes. Some people don't have to. I like to back it up with what I'm saying. So when I write something out, I'll say what I need to say, and then I put the UCC code in there to follow it up as if, look, like I'm not just speaking for my health. You know, like this is a real law, code, statute, whatever you want to call it. It's there. So these rules are not made for me. They're made for corporations, and I'm not a corporation. I'm a being. I'm a God's being, right? So I did give them 3 times to cure. I wrote it, actually, Julia, the lady that I was speaking to through this whole transaction, like she probably laughed at me and made little jokes because the first letter was kind of weak because I started this back in May. I was just kind of getting my footing. And then in March, I started this back in March. So in May is when I started the process. And the process was me writing letters to Ford Credit. I figured out who the indentured trustee is, who the CFO. The CFO is very important because it's the chief financial officer. And what you're dealing with in securities is financial, okay? The financial institution. Everything's going to be finance, money, securities, bonds, interest, proceeds, all the things, right? So at this point, I did get a letter back from her that again stated that she is not going to refund me my money. Which was kind of crazy, but it kind of made me chuckle a little bit, that she said Ford Credit doesn't have to abide by the UCC codes, like any of the laws, statutes, or anything like that. So I'm like, you literally just hung yourself, Julia. Just did that. You did that. And whenever I write my stuff out, a lot of times I'll either handwrite it out or I type it up. Just depends on how I'm feeling. I do get it notarized as well because I want to make sure that they understand that now 2 signatures creates that contract, and I'm not playing. Because at this point I've already had it notarized, sealed, and then also I have my codes to back it up. So in that, what you guys are doing is you're preparing to go to court. Always just go ahead and think, I'm gonna have to go to court. So if you have to go to court, what would you want? What would you need? Because at this point, the court doesn't care about your emotions. They don't care, okay? They need facts and evidence. That's it. So when you prepare your stuff, that's what you give. You know, the fact that I wrote Julia 3 times to cure. I had it notarized, all the things. So in saying that, I looked up the Attorney General. I have given them 3 times to cure. With the same rebuttal from Julia. She refuses. She's not going to abide. So I'm like, okay. So I wrote the Attorney General. That is also on my TikTok page if you're interested. And then also swipe to the left and get the second page, screenshot it, because it's the Florida Office of Financial Regulation. These are really good, like, information to have. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. If you ever hear me talk about the CFPB, that's good too. Get this information because this is coming straight from Beverly. It says Office of Citizen Service, Florida Attorney General's Office in Tallahassee. So they're giving me some good little gems here. The third address is U.S. Bankruptcy Court, because I did mention that my ex-demon, that I divorced. We went through a bankruptcy, I want to say 2019, and I would like to dispute that as well. Now, mind you, I didn't have a lot of control of the finances, if any. Like, when my kids even came to me for money, I would say, "Oh, no, don't ask me. You go to him, because I'm not going to catch that. I'm not getting some backlash, because you go to them. You go to Satan and you ask him for some money, because I'm not." So in saying that, we ended up having to file for bankruptcy. I don't know what he was doing with his money. Clearly it was his. It wasn't mine. Anything that I brought in, it was no. But because he is the first name listed on the mortgage, and then I'm the second name as a co-signer, I just don't want him to get that money. Like, I don't want to do all of this work, because it was like $500,000. I don't want to do all this work and then him have to get some of it. Like, he deserves nothing from me at this point. So I do need to talk to somebody about that, because I'll leave that. I'll leave that sitting on the table and eat that. But my car, I am the first name listed. So any of the homework and any of the education that I do would come straight to me. So the Executive Office of U.S. Trustees, perfect, great. That was great. When I saw that, I was like, oh, that is, because that's actually the executive office for the U.S. trustees. Okay, so, thank you. So that's exciting. But this is also on my YouTube page if you want to look at that. Again, it's the document. And then it has nothing on the front screen. It's just a document, and then swipe left. Is it my left? Yeah. Swipe left, and then you'll see this page that I'm reading off. The last one is Legal Services of North Florida. I don't necessarily need that, because it says, finally, because our office is not at liberty to give legal advice to individual consumers. She's marking me as a consumer again, because that's where I'm at, If you need legal guidance, please consult a private attorney. The Florida Bar offers a lawyer referral service and then gives its number. I won't ever hire an attorney again. I'll present myself, which I think is interesting, because I've always dreamed of being an attorney. I feel like I'm a good debater, but then I don't know where the comma goes, and clearly I run on sentences, so I feel like I would have failed that. But so I wrote the Attorney General. At this point, I'm going to write up another letter, but I'm going to send it to all of these people. And when I say all, it's going to be the Florida Office of Financial Regulation, Consumer Financial, the CFPB, and then also the Executive Office of Trustees. So I have to get all of my paperwork together. And that's going to include the Ford contract. The Ford contract, number one, because at this point, Julia can't give me the original contract that I signed, wet signature. She can't even give me that. So I have to do the contract, and then I'm going to copy all of the emails, because I've been back and forth with her on emails. I also called her, but I didn't record the call. But then the other thing is she had correspondence with me too. But the funny thing is that she hung herself every time. I'm like, wow, you are giving me some really good information, so that when I do have to go to court, you're done. Because think about it, Julia's not going to be there at the courthouse. I'm going to be there. Who's representing Ford? Who's representing them? Oh, an attorney? An attorney that's third party? They weren't even there. How would they know? They weren't at signing. They weren't in my correspondence with Julia. Why is this dude here? So case dismissed. Give me my money back, So I just always approach anything with the understanding that I may have to go to court, okay? I keep everything. If I send you a letter, I also kept the same letter. I have it stored away just in case for the backlash, right? So I have to do that. I have to get the Julia's emails printed, and then also the letters of correspondence through the postal service. Once I do that, I'll print it out 3 times, and then I'm going to send it to these 3 people, right? Now, when I create my letters, when I start to make up my documents, I make sure that I have everything in there, because when the person on the other side gets that, I want to make sure she has he has no questions. No questions. This is the person that I wrote it to. This is when I did it. This is how I sent it, whatever, right? There's going to be no questions, because essentially that's also going to be my exhibits. I have to have my proof, right? They don't care about your emotions. None of them. None of this is emotional. So even whenever you're talking to the bank, or even whenever you're talking to, you know, anybody, the leasing office, you can't get upset with somebody that maybe really doesn't know what's going on, right? What do they say? The private side is what, 3%, maybe less? I think it's growing, because we're starting to educate ourselves and understand that we have a million of plethoras of credits that are all in like this escrow. They're all in this like little holding company, all this thing. So when Jasara is announced, because I know it's been announced in a couple countries, not America. And of course, I don't think that the media is going to tell us that anyway. They obviously don't want us to grow, and, you know, they're just very willing to show us the negative, you know, grandma getting hit by a reindeer. I wasn't even going to go with that. I was going to say car. And then I thought, well, it's Christmas. Let it be reindeers. But, you know, that's the kind of stuff that they're going to show us on the television. They don't want us to grow and expand our awareness, because they keep us in this narrative, this lies and deception. Is very narcissistic. But when you create the packets to go out, just make sure that you have every T, every I, all the things, you know, because here's my other thing. In my first letters, I would leave out stuff, and I'm like, damn, I really didn't give them like a time frame. So basically I would send you a threat letter with no time frame to contact me back in. So if I were you, I would have just thrown it away, because you didn't give me instructions. So, you know, but now I'm learning a whole year later to make sure, you know, that you give them maybe 14 days, maybe something, right? You have to give them something, because I would have thrown your shit away. I would have been like, well, she didn't give me a time to next year, bitch, you know? Not even next year, because it's really, really soon to be next year, but you knew what I was saying. So just make sure that everything is done right. Make sure that you are well equipped with what you're putting on paper. Sometimes I write in my handwriting, right? And I'll even write as I would talk, because it needs to be personal. It's a personal relationship with you and this other person. Here's my thought on that. If I go to court and I can't talk in the legalese or the way that ChatGPT wrote it up, and I don't have a full understanding, then what my paperwork is saying and what I am speaking on is going to be two different things. But if I can articulate it through writing and tell them, hey, this is what this is why they did it, Julia said this is what I'm requesting from you, hey Haley, you know, this is what I'm asking of you, then if there is a time that I go to court, then I'm okay, because I knew what I was already, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're already going to close it up in writing, because you guys can actually handle court outside the court. You know, if you notice that in a courtroom, you'll have all these people, and it's just cattle, it's chattel, okay? They're just running these people through. Meanwhile, they're taking securities and stuff like that from you on the back end, because you don't understand that it's still sitting there. And look, I speak to myself too. I didn't realize that. I didn't understand their game. But until you start to learn their game and understand like the way that they're playing it and how it's actually affecting you, you're going to put a stop to it. You know, so when you create that letter, write as you would. This is what they did. This is how I feel violated. You know, even now, in the beginning, I was really scared to throw in some codes, because some of the codes are like, you know, if you're willing to lie, it's like $100,000 fine or prison. And I'm like, I don't want somebody to go to prison, you know, like just correct your problem and fix it. But now I'm like, prison, you know? One of them I think is like I was gonna say $10 million fine and like imprisonment for so many years or whatever. I write that code now. I'm like, fuck with me, damn. But that's where I'm at with Julia and Ford Credit. I don't know what is going to come about it. I really don't. It has been drug out this whole time, probably due to me, because Julia definitely went on with her life. But that's just, you just do it as your time permits. Some people tell me, like even in the comments, Lee, I don't have time to really like study this, like they have a job or they have like young kids and, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I totally understand that. I said, but listen to it when you can. Listen to it when you get up, when you're getting ready in the morning, or whenever you've put the kids to bed, then listen to it. It's constant repetition in your head that is going to make it fluent to come out of your mouth, because that's how you switch the interior of your brain to this new way of thinking and say, okay, well, this is what I'm doing. And this is, okay, I'm in this setting, because remember, you have different hats that you wear per setting, right? So in some cases I could be the beneficiary. Some cases I could be this, some case, you're always the beneficiary, but you know what I'm saying? So just make sure that when you put the different hats on that you understand their game. And just to go back to my last relationship, I had to put on the hat that he was wearing so that I could see through him, basically, because I had this want for everything to be perfect through my eyes. But I had to see what he was playing. I had to turn around and go, okay, I got your game. I understand your game now, and then I started to put it back on him and play the same game. So on one hand, it was kind of shitty that I went through that, but on the other hand, I'm really grateful for it, because now I can apply it to this, because he's a little peon demon, but these demons are really big and they have a lot of money that can back them and all that kind of stuff. But even with me going to court, as soon as Ford Credit's attorney shows up, no sir, you were not there when I signed that contract. You were not there whenever I wrote and spoke to Julia. Get out of here. So now I know how to play the game a little better than I did, because my first couple letters were like, hey, just me, can you do this? Like, tisk on you. You're such a bad person. And now I'm like, prison. It's intense. But look, you've been down this rabbit hole for a long time. Now it's like, some people will say, you got to demand this out of them. And I'm like, I just don't like, that's such an aggressive word to me. I'd rather just be like, hey, like, do right, like, be better, be a better human. You're a shitty human, how do you sleep at night, that kind of thing. Now let's move on to the negotiable instrument. It's also called the Bills of Exchange. Look that up. There's a Bills of Exchange Act, and it works. I do have a friend of mine that can create that for you. And I can help you with the packet, but that's all I've done, like, in this as far as making my packet. Now she'll create the negotiable instrument, and then also send you a letter of presentment to go along with. And then I can also nicely demand. I don't know, is there a nicely demand? I try to nicely demand something, but I feel like it comes out aggressive because I talk so direct. I'd rather somebody talk to me directly, but so she will create the negotiable instrument and the letter of presentment, which is a notarized letter saying that, yes, this is official, all the things. I can help you with the packet. I can help you with constructing a letter, but it has to have all the components in it. Even look at some case files, even look at like how are attorneys drawing up stuff? What are I think it's 4 components that it needs. One of them is discovery. I don't know, but there are 4 components that attorneys typically like write their stuff with. I don't remember what those are. I'll have to look those up, and that made me curious, but that's what you're going to have to present to them, so I can help you put that together, even if it's a letter to your apartment complex. I just wrote a 1-page letter of please, tender this to my account. Again, now if Tammy on the other side of that gets it, what would she need from you, right? Are you just going to send her a check and now she has to, 45 minutes later, she's got to find you in the computer system? Like that would piss me off. So help Tammy not be pissed off. You know, what would she need? Maybe your name, maybe the apartment complex, because some complexes now have really like maybe multiple complexes. So again, if Tammy on the other side gets your letter and she's like, shit, now I got to snoop through like maybe 10 complexes or properties to find this one person. You know, hopefully if Tammy on the other side gets your address, then she can go, okay, well, I narrowed it down to 3 complexes now. You know what I'm saying? Just help Tammy on the other side of this. So you would need your name, and then the apartment complex name, also your address. I would put your lease or agreement had some sort of number. So whether it's a contract number or an application number, I would also help Tammy. Let's help her. You know, I would put my email address and then my telephone number and then start your letter. Now, when you write your letters, anything that you write, your name goes on the right side of the page, not the left. The left side is the debtor. You want to be on the right side, okay? So when you address them, you can put up here is your name, your information, and then right underneath it is like their information, who you're addressing. So right, so maybe it's like Tammy Jones, right? Care of Tammy Jones. I don't know who this person is, by the way. And then write the address to where you're going to send it. You did find it, Daniel. Good. But then all the things that need to be on that side, because think about it. What if Lindsay gets it and Lindsay's like, who does this go to? You need to care of Tammy Jones, right? Direct it to somebody. Because if Lindsay gets it, you're kind of like, what is this? You know? And then if you didn't add any of the detailed information to it, now Lindsay has no clue what you're doing at all. You know, when Tammy should have been the one to get the instrument, right? So care of Tammy, you know, the apartment complex that well, that would have been in your name. She would have, I mean, shit, you could even send it to the CFO. Now, I sent it over to the heads which when I think about what I did, I wish I wouldn't have, because I feel like I should have sent it to the CFO and not the head place, because here's why. When I sent it to the head place, it's actually a real estate company, right? So this real estate company is like, what the fuck is this, right? And I'm sure they don't know anything about this, but the CFO would. So I feel like if I had to do it all over again, I would have sent it to the CFO of this company, right? Of like the apartment complex. The only thing that I could actually find was the real estate agent company. So that's why I sent it there. Hopefully they know what to do with it. If they don't, then I'm gonna have to like, okay, send it to the CFO, you know? Because on my way home yesterday from the courthouse, I was working on my passport. I drove by the leasing department. Yeah, you need to look for the CFO of the whole, like the company, the head people. But on my way home, I did print off instructions on how to deposit a negotiable instrument, what it looks like, what it is, because the people that are getting it on the other side, they don't know what it is, right? So I printed off some of those and took it to my leasing office here, because corporate was gonna call the leasing office, and I went totally over the leasing office's heads. They're just workers, right? They're doing a great job. They're just workers, right? We have to go over the heads to the people that know the language that we're speaking now and the things that we're submitting. It's different, right? So I took it to the leasing office because corporate was going to contact them and all the things. So just always think over the heads. Just because like when I went to the courthouse, you know, the people at the little teller, like the little offices, like that may work with name changes or marriage license, whatever. Those workers, they're doing a great job, right? We have to go over the heads. So that's why I wanted to talk to the judge. The lady that I spoke to said that like, you're not going to be able to do that. unless I had a case. And I was like, well, and I'm thinking, well, I'm about to do that with Ford Credit, so I'll be back, you know. But it was good because I established like a face-to-face. If I see her again, her name is Micah. If I see her again, then I can be like, hey, Micah, what do I do? You know, that kind of thing. Because she was really nice and very informative. I was really pleased with that. But even with that, on my way, anywhere that I go, anything that I draw up, if it's a letter or anything like that, I pray over it. As I'm writing it, I kind of talk to my page like, okay, you're going to find who you need to find. You know, this letter is going to end up in the hands that it needs to be in. You know, not Lindsay. Lindsay doesn't fucking know, but Tammy does, you know. So I kind of direct all of that so that it gets into the right place, so that universal energy can just take over my packet that I just made up and then send it to where it needs to send, right? So the negotiable instrument is basically a check, but it's not a check, right? I know it. Go with me. It's a check, but it's coming out of your estate, right? Any of those funds, the money, anything like that. And when I say money, I'm talking about securities, right? It's apples and oranges, okay? So when you are dealing with a negotiable instrument, the top of it says, you know, you can't deposit it as a regular check to deposit it as a negotiable instrument, which means that it's going to have a pass-through account. That pass-through account is the ACH account. It's an automatic clearinghouse account. That directs it to the Federal Reserve, to the Treasury, right? So you're going to need somebody to do that. So think about it. If you send it to the leasing office, do you think anybody there is going to know anything what I just said? No. But the CFO will, or maybe the higher people up in corporate. I'm glad that she said corporate because I'm wondering, I hadn't talked to corporate. I've been talking with the leasing department, but I'm wondering if maybe the real estate company may have sent it to corporate, may have sent it up to the bigger, the Pumbas, right? And if that's the case, then yeehaw. So just remember that. Just remember that. Just because you guys have came into this knowledge, there's a lot of people that have not. Okay, I was one of those 2 years ago. I was one of those. You know, I've been only doing this since September of last year is when I came across all this. If you want to know where to start with your credit. Start to get acclimated with what credit is. Because when people think credit, they think of, oh, it's a credit card. Well, right, but what's it tapped into? Because the word credit also refers to securities on the private side. So what is that credit card attached to? Is it attached to your credits? How did they get those credits? Oh, they tapped into your estate? How they tap into your estate? Through your social security number? Yes. So in saying that to you, you can actually write them a letter. Hey, so nice to meet you. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. And I can't be denied my credits. So the $5,000 limit that you gave me, I want to go ahead and either one, you can open-ended, give me an open-ended account, or give me more credits, because I know where this comes from. I know where the credits come from. It comes from my estate. And you accessed my estate through my securities, through my social security number, right? So write them, tell them that, and then send it back to MasterCard and tell them that you would like a higher limit. Put it up to 100,000, you know, because then, and you know, that kind of scares some people. They're like, oh shit, I wouldn't know how to pay that. You pay it off with a 1099-C. Cancel it. Cancel it out. Send it to the IRS. Here you go. You know, and I do know that there are people that do that. They have credit cards that they will max out, and then at the end of the month, they send the IRS a 1099-C. Cancel it out. It's like, really? Okay, well, shit, do that with your rent. You know, do that with, you know, like if you have car payments right now, do that with your car payments. That way it's not coming out of fiat. It's not coming out of your personal bank account. You know, you can take it out of securities at the end and cancel it and then, you know, zero the balance, discharge it completely. To come across people like that, start to work on your credits. Start to understand what that is. The word credits, what we think, is so much different than what it actually is on the private side. Because when I talk about any of this kind of stuff and people are like, I want my money. Okay, I mean, yes, you can do that through different methods. Maybe, you know, like a 1040V. No, wait, what is it? W4 sandwich. You know, you can do it that way and then get money back, because if you do a 10 why do I keep saying that? You can do a W4 sandwich, and then that's an audit, and you send it into the IRS, and they're going to send you a check, and it's going to kind of look like a refund check that you would get from the IRS, right? So yeah, you can get it that way. But other than that, as far as paying your bills and such, it's going to come through securities. It's coming through credits. You have a plethora, an endless amount of credits. So if I have an endless amount of credits, then why do I have a limit on my credit card? You know, it's because they consider us minors. It's almost like, you know, whenever, say you have a 13-year-old and, you know, you're trying to teach her or him that, you know, here's how you do with credits or credit cards, or here's what a debit card is, and you're trying to teach. I feel like that's what they're doing to us. Okay, well, I'm only going to give you about $10,000 credit, okay? Okay, do good. Don't be behind. Don't fall behind, right? So they're nickel and diming us. Meanwhile, you have a plethora of credits. You know, again, it's coming from your estate. You know, so do your homework. Do your homework. And I talk about this a lot because the thing is that there's going to be a lot of naysayers, and there's going to be a lot of people coming for you. There was a guy that messaged me, private messaged me at that too, and I was like, why are you even here? You know? And he said something like, I'm scamming people and that's how I make money because I'm pretty and da-da. And I'm like, what? He didn't do his research. He didn't do his research. He's just probably jumping on the coattails of other people, you know. And yes, if you're on this journey, there's going to be things that you do, or, you know, maybe forms that you forget, or like shit. I sent a form to the IRS the other day and I didn't even sign it. She sent it back to me and she's like, bitch, sign this. You know, I'm like, sorry. You know, I mean, just because you're in this, you know, just wanting to educate and learn and all that kind of stuff. And like when I get so focused, yeah, sometimes I forget stuff. But that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're a failure or you did it wrong, or you just forgot, right? I just forgot to sign my name. But Kathy wrote me a letter, and then even she took a yellow marker and like lined it like, bitch, you didn't even sign it, you know. So, but most of the time the IRS is very good about letting you know if you forgot something, or letting you know that like, hey, you need to do this, this, and this too. The IRS is your friend. We've been told that otherwise. We've been told that no, they hate you and they're going to come and get you and lock you up. Well, I was on the phone with an IRS agent the other day, several weeks ago now, for 4 hours. And no, 4 hours was Verizon. I was on the phone with him, I want to say 2.5, like almost 3 hours. It was a long time. And his name is Mr. Higby. And he even said that no, the IRS does not come for you. The IRS wants to balance your books. Okay, that's it. They're just there to balance your books, right? And that's great. Balance my books. Don't come for me. Well, then who comes for me? He said the state comes for me. Because think about it. If the state comes for you, now you're held, right? Now they can take you to court. They can lock you up, do all the things that they want to do. But on the back side of that, on the court side of that, think about this. They're getting securities. They're getting bonds. You know, they're getting all this stuff. So it's almost like the state is waiting for you to trip up so that they can come and get you. Because it's not the IRS. I got firsthand knowledge that it was not the IRS. It's the state. The state does that. So just don't live in fear. Okay? Don't live in that lower vibration, dense reality. You don't want that kind of energy at all. But there's my update. Apparently I'm supposed to go live with Malibu tomorrow, not today. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I hope that I think I posted on my TikTok about it, but I think I hope I didn't kind of make it seem like it was today at 5. I was under the impression it was today at 5. So anyway, I love you guys. please stay high vibrational. Please, please, please. When people start to come at you, or, you know, I mean, I listen to content creators that will ask me a question, I answer their question, and then they're, no, that's not what that is. And then they re-say what I just said to them as if it was theirs. And I'm like, yeah, right, I just said that to you. Watch for those kind of things. Tune into that, right? If you're up in the box and you answer a question and instantly like, nope, it's this is Westlake, blah, blah, dumb shit like that. I just can't. Some people, I have to leave the live because I just cannot even stand to listen to them. And then they'll follow it up with, you know, well, I have classes and stuff like that. And I'm like, but you're bullshit. So what are you teaching? Like bullshit? Like what? But I just can't. Literally will repeat what I just said to them. Tell me that I'm wrong, but then repeat what I just said to them as if it was theirs. You know, that's the way you do it. I'm like, yeah, that's what I just said to you. So I love you guys. I will always meet you on the flip side to talk about aliens and all the things and the securities. And it's just a great time to be alive. It's exciting because I do know that Nasara is rolling out. We have the med beds that are coming in. It's an amazing time. You guys go look up Roseanne Barr. She's on YouTube. She interviewed, I listened to it the other day. She interviewed Tucker Carlson. That was beautiful. Beautiful. And she's just waking people up, you know, and the people that aren't going to wake up, let them sleep. It's not your job to wake up people. It's not your job to heal people. And look, I'm saying, look, I had to learn this, okay? I had to learn this because there for a while I was putting myself last and putting everybody else in front of me because I wanted to help them. No, I'll help you, but I'm not going to put myself out for somebody else anymore. I can't afford to do that. For my mental state of mind, right? I mean, there's a guy that I used to go on his live all the time, and I would go up in the box and I would talk about this a lot. Well, he is instantly obsessed with it now, right? And he and I were talking, and you know, we would talk almost every day because he was like, hey Lee, what about this? And have you done this? And where do I find this? And like, he's super obsessed, right? Well, I noticed that now his energy has shifted just a tad. He's moving different, right? Now he jumps on lives, or he has his lives, and he has some, you know, pretty big hitters up in the box, but it's almost like he's ass kissing with them too. So I don't like a pick me kind of person. I think they're kind of operating off of insecurities, very low dense. I don't like that. But I noticed it, you know, and that's where I have to make sure that my intuition and I can feel that. Am I feeling what I'm really feeling? Is he really moving like that? You know, because at one time it was like, Lee, oh my God, like you changed my life. You brought this information to me. You know, I can't believe it. Like, I owe you so much. And then now he's saying that to other people, you know, and you brought this to me. And I'm just like, you know, when people find something and then pass it off, I don't know. It's just grimy to me. It's kind of cringe, but it's okay. It's okay. Because look, people are going to be in your life for a time and a season. Once you cross paths with them, it could be maybe 3 months that you're in, not a relationship like that, but you're kind of in like conversation with them, right? Once they start to be moving different, once the little snake's tail goes, then I'm done, you know? So just pay attention to that. You know, not everybody is supposed to be in this timeline with you at all. It could be family. It could be, you know, friends that you're noticing that you're unequally yoked with, that you are, you know, off frequency. Your frequencies don't even match anymore. Like almost like you're with this person. Now, whether this person be a family member or a spouse or your child, a friend, whatever it is, if you can't talk to them about what is in your life currently, then what do you have? You know, to me, it would be that's a surface relationship. And I think at my time in my life now, I don't want surface friends. I would rather just stay to myself in my little cave in Destin, Florida, you know, and continue to study until I can find more weighted substantial, you know, people that are actually, I don't want to say smart, but very intelligent in their thinking. You know, that's where I'm at right now. Some people are okay with surface friends, you know, because they're lacking something inside of them that makes them feel like they need all these people around them, regardless if all those people are good for them or not, you know. But at this point, or this era in some of our lives, we're like, no, no. So, but anyway, I love you guys. I do. Stay high vibrational. Continue to learn every day. Stay on track. Like even this morning, I wrote down the things that I was working on because I feel like I have so many irons in the fire that I start to get overwhelmed. Like, oh my gosh, okay, what is this? What am I working on? Ford credit? Okay, I just did that. It kind of redirects my chaos in my head, you know, because I am working on several processes, and it gets a little fuzzy. So I love you guys, and you know I will always meet you on the flip side.